Good Wednesday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Welcome to the I Love CVille show. It's good to be with you. We're in February. Thank you kindly for joining us. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth of the country, on the I Love CVille network. We have two fantastic individuals joining us on today's program. Ted Norris will join us in about 15 minutes. He's going to spotlight potential policy that's coming down the pipeline that could make it extremely difficult to be a restaurant owner, a mom and pop restaurant owner in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Ted is going to represent the Virginia Restaurant, Lodging, and Tourism Association with the delegates in Richmond. And I'll let him explain the nitty-gritty. He's going to join us in 14 minutes and change. But the concept is upping the wage for staffers in restaurants. And initially, from a first glance, you would think upping the wage and maybe getting it to about $15 an hour for everyone inside a mom and pop restaurant is a good idea. But if that happens, there will be massive layoffs, there will be increase in prices on menus, and restaurant owners will pivot away from servers and bartenders to a model that utilizes a window where customers pick up their food at that window and then take it to their table. Upping the payroll for restaurants that are barely surviving coming out of a pandemic, and I have statistics I'm about to offer to you that should offer consumer confidence about us coming out of this pandemic. I'll offer those in a matter of moments. But folks, a bunch of politicians pushing policy on restaurant owners coming out of a pandemic is the definition of freaking stupidity. The definition of stupidity. Pushing policy on restaurant owners when you have no experience as a restaurant owner is the definition of, well, stupidity. I'll let Ted get to the nitty-gritty in T-minus 13 minutes. If you work in restaurants, if your family works in restaurants, your friends work in restaurants, if you know someone who owns or operates a restaurant, the interview we're about to do in 13 minutes, you should hear. Tag a friend and let them know. Now, I had an interesting conversation today with mechanics. We go to Settle Tire. We find the folks at Settle Tire to be honest. We've been going there for a number of different vehicles, my family. And we enjoy the experience we have at Settle with the folks that we've learned to trust, or they've proven that we can trust them over years of working alongside and working with them with our cars. Had a conversation with the guys over at Settle today, and I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of the conversation. I said, fellas, what's COVID been doing to the business? What's COVID been doing to what's going on here? They straight up said it's crushed the business. It's absolutely annihilated the business. Straight up said we needed the small business loan just to survive and keep the lights on. They said no one is driving cars at the frequency they once did. They referenced the guys that work in finance on the downtown mall, all the support staff and all the primary staff at the University of Virginia not driving into work, instead working from home. They said people are not driving around town, mileage is down, the time in between inspections is longer, not shorter, and the damage done to used vehicles is not nearly as robust as it once was before COVID-19 because people were sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic on Pantops, on Route 29, on Market Street, on Main Street, on Ridge Street, Avon, 5th Street, or anywhere in the city, Albemarle, or Central Virginia. I wanted to relay that conversation to you because we talk hospitality, we talk restaurants, we talk music venues, we talk weddings and events, and we talk about these niches being absolutely hammered by COVID-19, and they've been ravaged. Undoubtedly, they've been ravaged. We don't often talk about the local mechanic, though, and the plight, the challenge of the local mechanic may not be as deep as the local restaurant, but the plight and the challenge faced by the local mechanic is significant nevertheless. Settle is a locally owned business in the heart of Charlottesville on Preston Avenue. You go there before the pandemic. I'm talking February of 2020. You couldn't drop your car off on sometimes because all the parking spaces were full with people looking to get work done on their vehicle. Today, my wife, my kid, and I drove to Settle Tire around 8:45 in the morning. We dropped her car off to get inspected and needed some windshield wiper blades that needed a filter change. This was a car that had a dead sticker. We're talking a November 2020 sticker. When I heard that their business was seriously down, I was like, man, is that going to mean I'm going to have an uptick on my wife's repair today because they're short on cash and revenue? I got the phone call from Settle Tire just before the show. Dead sticker, November 2020, we're in February, okay? They said, Jerry, your wife's car is ready. I said, how much do I owe you? I'm biting my fingernails. I'm thinking they're going to try to make up some of this revenue that's not there because of COVID-19. They said, you need to replace the windshield wipers. And there's a filter that's going to pass inspection. It's a little dirty. We suggest you replace it. You owe us $52. $52. I said, thank you for your honesty. Let's replace the windshield wipers and let's replace the filter. We'll pick up the vehicle before close of business. I appreciate your business, Settle Tire. $52. That's the reason I'm relaying this story to you. You got a brand and a locally owned business that employs a hell of a lot of people. It's been hammered by COVID-19 because people are working from home. People are not going to college. They're instead choosing to learn. They're either taking a gap year or they're learning in the coat closet or the guest bedroom or on the kitchen table. Students and parents aren't driving to public schools. Sports are canceled, so kids aren't doing the after-school activities. Mommy and daddy are doing Zoom from the office at home instead of getting in the minivan or the Ford Explorer and driving across town for the 9 to 5 or the 9 to 6. Business is down. Settle showed a lot of an integrity and character by saying, you know what? $52 is what you owe us. I wanted to relay that story to you because I thought it was a refreshing experience. All right, the next topic is one I found so confusing. I'm not going to spend too much time on this topic. I'm going to ask you this question. What is the most important thing that's going on in Charlottesville and Central Virginia right now? What is the most important thing that's going on in the Commonwealth of Virginia right now? What is the most important thing that's going on in the United States of America right now? What is the most important thing that's going on in the world right now? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think about the answer. There's a clear-cut answer. The most important thing going on anywhere in the world right now is the distribution of this COVID-19 vaccination and getting it in as many people's arms as possible. Whether you take the vaccination or not, whether you trust the vaccination or not, this needle and this marvel of modern medicine that's in the needle that goes into your arm is the key to consumer confidence, the reopening of the economy, and turning this ship around and closing the gap between Wall Street and Main Street. It's critical. It's the key. Why I bring this up to you is on Sunday, here in our fine city of Charlottesville in Central Virginia, we had roughly what? 6 inches of snow? It was nice, right? Played in the snow, had some hot chocolate with some Baileys, went sledding in the neighborhood. Maybe you guys did the same. It was nice to be out, wasn't it? Wasn't the snow a little glimmer of what it was like before COVID? Seeing the kids sledding, we got bundled up, had a little snowball fight. It was a good time. The reason I bring this up, the one downfall of the 6 inches of snow we had Sunday was the cancellation on Sunday and Monday of COVID-19 vaccinations by the Blue Ridge Health District. I'm going to reiterate this. The most important thing that's going on in Charlottesville, the most important thing that's going on in Central Virginia, the most important thing that's going on in the Commonwealth, in the country, in the world, is the distribution of this vaccination. However, 6 inches of snow can cause 2 days of vaccinations to be canceled? Are we walking? Are we going to the vaccination centers on horseback, in Model Ts? Are we going to the vaccination centers on horse-drawn carriages? The cancellation, because of 6 inches of snow, of the most important thing that's going on in the community should be cause for frustration. And I'm frustrated. The next topic on this program is a COVID milestone. I scrape and claw for positivity on this show to give you. I am a positive person, and folks, since March of 2020 until now, the positivity has potentially been outweighed by the negativity. And I'm scraping and clawing for positive content to give to you. And I have some for you today. And this is something you should wrap your mind around and share with your friends and family. On Monday, this past Monday, get the headline on screen, please, sir, Judah Wickhauer. Judah Wickhauer is our fabulous director. Ted Norris is 5 minutes away. Crystal Napier a little after 1 o'clock here on the I Love CVille show. On Monday, more Americans received at least 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine than have tested positive for the virus. I'll repeat that statistic again. On Monday, more Americans had at least 1 dose of the vaccine. 26.5 million Americans on Monday had at least 1 dose of the vaccine. On Monday, 26.3 million Americans had tested positive for COVID-19. So for the first time in the pandemic, on Monday, more people had at least 1 dose of the vaccine that have tested positive for this damn thing from the onset of it. That's positive. That's positive. That's positive. Put it in your head. That is positive. That is positive. Vaccines are going out to Walgreens and CVS's and pharmacies. The Biden administration is getting vaccines out to pharmacies. I can go to Wegmans, and I did it already. I went to Wegmans. I went to the pharmacy. I said, I want the flu shot. Pharmacist behind a plastic screen with a mask on, me on the other side of the plastic screen, gave me a clipboard. I filled out the information on the clipboard. I went to Wegmans in that little private room off the pharmacy. The pharmacist came in, gave me the flu shot, and then gave me a receipt for a free damn pizza. If I could go to Wegmans and in a 15-minute window, sign the paperwork on a clipboard, give it back to the pharmacist, go into the little room that's about 110 square feet, close the door, take off my Henley. I don't think a lot of people take off their shirts when getting the flu vaccination at Wegmans. I take off my shirt. I have no shirt on. I'm taking my Henley off. I got my arm ready to go. I was in and out in less than 15 minutes and had my large pepperoni pizza order at Wegmans put in before the 15-minute marker. I was out the door in less than 30. My wife, kid, and I were enjoying a large pepperoni pie, and I had a flu shot and a Band-Aid on my arm about 45 minutes after I walked into Wegmans. Not bad, right? If we can do that, why can't we get the COVID vaccine the same way? Soon we will be able to. Positivity. These kinds of items that get into the news cycle and then creep into our subconscious and become topics of conversation have a way to snowball and create consumer confidence that's going to create new jobs or return the jobs that were furloughed, reopen the economy, and get things back on track with closing Wall Street and Main Street's gap. It's pretty sizable right now. A couple more items before we get to Ted Norris. 2 minutes away from Ted Norris. On Friday, February 12th, so that's not this Friday, but next Friday. Friday, February 12th. Judah, I'm going to ask you to get those Google Maps screenshots on screen. On Friday, February 12th, we're going to sit here for 12 hours. Keith Smith's going to join me as well. We're going to do the Charlottesville Affordable Housing Telethon. And for 12 straight hours, we're going to feature bands and musicians and artists and chefs and agents of positive change on this network. We're going to have artists performing at the Jefferson at the front porch. We're going to stream it to 15 Facebook pages, 15 Twitter accounts, 15 LinkedIn accounts, 15 YouTube channels, 15 Twitch accounts, 15 Instagram accounts, on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes, on Spotify, and of course on ilovecville.com. And the entire mission of this telethon is to raise money for affordable housing. If we can get 3,000 people to donate $50 on Friday, February 12th, the Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust can buy a piece of land on 10th Street Northwest. Judah, do you have that on screen? Get the map on for 10th Street Northwest. Let me know when that's on, please, sir. Look at the screen, guys. That's where the land is. $150K, 3,000 people donating $50 is $150K. Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust buys that property, and it turns into 5 units of affordable housing. They're going to sell it at roughly $200 to $215K. Damn good price. Best price you could find in Charlottesville. If we can raise $300,000, that's 6,000 people at $50 each. 6,000 people at $50 each. If we raise $300,000, they can buy this piece of property as well at the corner of Monticello and Carlton. J-Dubs, you got that on screen, baby boy? Show us that one. Monticello and Carlton. Is that on screen? It's on screen. Judah didn't like the baby boy comment right there. Please help. 6,000 people in this community of Central Virginia that's made up of 300,000. If 2% of the community contributes $50 per household, we get $300,000. We make Charlottesville history. Never in the history of Charlottesville, Virginia, has anyone crowdsourced the purchase of property. Never. And this is done for a genuine mission, which is affordable housing in this community. Those 2 pieces of property will translate into 11 units of affordable housing tied to area median income. 11 units at a price tag of $200K to $215K. Net zero energy efficient units. Whew. All right. Friday, February 12th. I'm going to ask for your help. I'm going to ask for your help. I need $50 from 6,000 people, please. I'm ringing Ted Norris now. We got Ted Norris on the line. The only person who comes on this show who has hair better than me is this man right here, Ted Norris. Ted, I'm seeing on Facebook, people are asking you to run for office. People are seeing you as a lobbyist. I mean, dude, you are wearing so many different hats. Before we get into that, how about an introduction to you? For the few people who do not know who Ted Norris are, there are still a few people. An introduction to you, and then we'll talk shop.
I'm sorry, me?
Yes, please. Who's Ted Norris?
I'm the bar manager at my restaurant. That's it.
He's a phenomenal guy, a husband.
Yeah, yep, right. That's right. A husband to an amazing woman, the Stacey Norris, the founder of the House Project that helps outdoor dogs in need and does a million other things for animals in our community. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to blow. I'm a musician. I've actually recently found a guy I played music with in a band 25 years ago. And he's in Philadelphia, and we've been making music together again, sharing files, and that's been a great way to take my mind off of everything and focus on something good and fun.
This guy is fantastic. He's fantastic. His wife is doing amazing things. Maybe we'll highlight what she's doing at the end of this interview. Before we do, Ted, again, we're with this topic here. We are lucky to have you in this community. Why don't you do the who, what, when, where, why of what's happening?
Well, first of all, I want to say I didn't get much sleep, so I'm really tired. So I might be a little slow with my thoughts today. I just guzzled a bunch of coffee trying to get myself together. I need to separate there's so much conflicting information and missed by myself in some cases about what's going on with the elimination of the tip credit, what that would do to businesses themselves, and what that would do to the tipped employee versus the actual push by the federal government to eliminate tipping, which there is one. You can look it up. That's going on right now. Now, how they do that is another question. One of the ways that they work towards that is eliminating the tip credit. But there's two separate issues here that I've been trying to push out about, eliminating the tip credit, which is my big issue. It's not just how it affects me and my fellow employees that work for tips for a living, but how it affects the businesses themselves, the restaurants themselves, especially now, while the businesses are trying to recover and get themselves back on their feet during this time. And I mean, this is just detrimental. At this moment in time, it is detrimental to restaurants trying to get back on their feet if they do this. And we can explain and talk about why this would hurt restaurants.
Please. Okay, how about this? Let's do this. Let's break this down into the most basic terms possible. And I'm going to ask you the most basic questions here for every listener here. First, let everyone know what the tip credit is in very layman's terms.
In the layman's terms, it allows, so let me explain it this way. Because a lot of people don't really understand this. And this is one of my biggest pushes to try to get people to understand. As a tipped employee, as a server, a bartender, people always hear, well, you only make $2.13 an hour. And yes, but we actually don't. We are at the base of it, we are all minimum wage employees. By law, if your tips plus your the wage they pay you does not add up to minimum wage by the end of your pay period, you are required the employers are required by law to make up that difference. So you are a minimum wage employee, regardless of what the minimum, whether it's $7.25, whether it's $15 an hour. Your employer, by law, has to make sure that you make that kind of money. Now, do all employers make that happen? That's a good question. I think that's something that needs to be paid attention to. And I think that people who work for them need to understand their rights also, so they can then approach their employer if they're not living up to that. What we have is the ability to make much more than minimum wage by being tipped employees. I've made a good living off of being a tipped employee, a bartender for 25 years. And I'm basically trying to fight for my livelihood and keep things the way they are by removing the tip credit allows the employer to make up that difference. I have again, my mind is working a little slower today because I'm so tired. But basically, it allows. I need to have an owner explain this better, how the tip credit works. But it allows the owners to pay us at a lower wage to keep their costs down.
Yeah, this is basically it allows. Okay, this is basically how it is. It's the owner. The owner has some leeway. Because the owner is basically, the owner understands that if the team member performs well, that they're going to get tips that are going to surpass well beyond minimum wage. Yeah. So that gives the owner a little leeway on payroll and what's getting taken out of their pocket and given to team members.
Right. So restaurants operate at a 3 to 5% pre-tax profit margin, and labor cost is about 36%. Or so can be, so it's huge. And if you take away the tip credit, and they have to pay us a full wage, that changes everything for the restaurant industry.
How so?
In so many different ways. So basically, what's going to happen is the owner of the restaurant is going to have to make a decision on how because everything is fundamentally going to have to change in the way they operate, and that can happen in different ways. Some restaurants are going to go to a system where they actually eliminate servers, go to more of an automated system, window system, where people go up and order. And, that's one way to do it. Certainly cutting your staff down quite a bit because you pay for you can only pay for so many employees at that level. Kept passing it on to you, the consumer, the cost of your you're going to a restaurant and getting drinks is going to go up because they have to figure out a way to pay for us. Now, as far as like eliminating tipping goes, as far as tipping goes, there's a few different choices. They could continue to allow tipping and take that tipping in, and then instead of me getting the tips that I make,
it would go to the owner. It would go to the owner.
Well, what the owner would do is the owner would take it and then use that money to pay for the entire staff's salary. Because they have to figure out a way to pay. Say it goes up to $15 an hour. They need to figure out a way to pay their entire staff $15 an hour. So by taking the tips and using that as a way of supplementing our wages, which brings all of our money down, especially those of us that are making more than the minimum wage. We could end up really just making minimum wage, maybe $1 or $2 more on the hour if we're lucky. But that's an option. Another option is to, I was a little misinformed on the owners would need to eliminate tipping because it would cost them for us to be tipped. It actually would be eliminating tipping would be more of a reason to be competitive with the place next door, so because everybody has to raise their prices. So, if the place next door is like, hey, you don't need a tip over here, and then we over here are continuing the tip, then you're and
that's 20%. That's 20%. Right. That's substantial.
But I don't know if it'd be 20% anymore. I think tips would go down 5%. People would tip a lot less because they're paying a lot more. I think it really does affect us in the long run. And that's we're just talking about the tipped employees. The businesses themselves, this will actually put some businesses out of business.
100%.
I mean, they can't afford some of the places. I mean, I think Tip Top Lounge. I mean, a place like that where, the cost is low and they have to jack all their prices up. I mean, it's going to kill a lot of small restaurant businesses, especially now, as restaurants are trying to get back on their feet.
So what's the timeline here? What's the timeline? This is trying to what's the likelihood this happens, and what's the timeline we're looking at?
That I don't know. I know that what the timeline is. I know that they the original thing that started this for me that I saw was the whole thing where they were actually pushing at the federal level to eliminate tipping altogether by 2027. So, as minimum, they get to the point where they were trying to eliminate our tips as period, which then just turns us into minimum wage employees.
Which gives you no incentive to perform.
Well, not only that, I mean, it takes away my ability to, some of us have made a career out of this, and we make much more than minimum wage. I can't afford to pay my bills on minimum wage, even if it is $15 an hour. I mean, I realize that this is a boon up for someone to take. My fight isn't against the raise of minimum wage. My fight is against the elimination of the tip credit that takes away the restaurant's ability to operate in the margins that they operate. Because it really wrecks this business and changes everything. And it also, it ultimately hurts our bottom line too. It's a whole big mess of things.
Well, and we could even take it a step further here. If we could take it a step further, because if the elimination of the tip credit happens, this is what's gonna happen. Restaurant owners will cut back on their staff to save on payroll.
Yeah.
If they're not cutting back on their staff, they're going to change the entire front of the house model, like you said, and it'll be food at a pickup window, and there's going to be no staff serving tables, right? They're absolutely going to raise prices on the menu because they have to survive because their margins are already razor slim. So I guess where I'm going with this is, if this happens, the sociological impact we should also consider, because this would actually make communities less diverse. Because the folks that are working in restaurant industries often offer the diversity to the community. And if those jobs are eliminated, they won't live in this community anymore because there's no place to work.
Yeah, it certainly takes away that. I don't know what I'm going to go do if I can't do this for a living. I have no idea, to try to make the money I was making. personally, or just again to have a place to be, have a place to work. I really, this is, a killer for a lot of, outside of the university, the restaurant industry is the second largest employer in this area, and most of the workers that I talk to, they don't want their finances messed with. At least in Charlottesville, a lot of us make a good living here doing this. We want to be left alone. Now, I'm not talking about the guys in the kitchen. I don't want to act like I don't think they should be getting some more money back there, because I think they do. I think those guys need to make a little bit more money. I'm down with them. I support them. I'm on their side. But if a restaurant needs to pay everybody like that same wage, it's going to change fundamentally how everything works, and ultimately, hurt the businesses and the workers, whether they realize it or not.
So what are you doing? What's your timeline? Are you going to Richmond?
So no, actually, I just got a text or an email right before I got on the phone with you. So I'm actually not going anywhere, but I am meeting in a group of with 5 other people, meeting with Senator Tim Kaine on a Zoom meeting on next Thursday.
Get out, Ted Norris with Senator Tim Kaine. Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, what? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what's the point of the Zoom meeting there?
I'm there as basically just to say, as somebody out in the field, basically showing how this is going to affect me personally. Not they're going to be talking about how it affects the businesses, how it affects the owners, how it affects this. I'm there as a representative of how's it going to affect the worker. Basically, that's my job, is to sort of be there to be a face of the worker and represent people who work for tips for a living and people who want basically to be left alone. And I see where there's different motivations for doing this. A lot of it is money related for the government. Some of it is thinking they're doing us some kind of favor. I don't really think that has a lot to do with it. But
I think it's just I think they have no idea how the inner workings of restaurants work. And I think they have no idea how razor slim the margins are. And the idea that this is even being discussed coming out of COVID is just asinine.
Well, that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's like, we can argue this point at any time. I mean, I went last year to Richmond and spoke about it last year before this. So, I'm never down with it. But right now, is way a bad time. Yeah. Even next year, when all these restaurants are trying to survive just to get back on their feet. Yeah. It's detrimental. Yeah. I mean, it will. Those of us that are so close, we're so close.
If this is approved, when would this go through?
That's what I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that. Okay. And so I don't want to speak out of give misinformation that way. Okay. Because I actually don't know the answer.
Why don't we do this? I'm grateful for your time here. You are got a Zoom with Senator Tim Kaine next week. Maybe we can catch up with you following the Zoom.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. There's a lot of people out there that have differing opinions than I do. There are some people in this industry that do not agree with me. I know a lot do. I see something that down the road that I think is going to harm my industry and going to harm me and the people that like me down the road. I see it coming. Not everybody agrees with me. So I just, I want to put that out there. That's okay. This is how I feel about it, and I'm going to act on it.
I know what it's like to have an opinion that you strongly believe in and put it out there and not have everybody agree with you. So I know exactly what that's like. I wish you the best of luck. I agree with you. for the record. I agree with you.
Thank you, Jerry.
And I'm going to, Ted, I'll shoot you another message. I would love to get you back on after you get FaceTime with Tim Kaine. I mean, that's big time. I would love to get you back on.
Yeah, and I'll get my thoughts together and also get some sleep before I actually have that meeting.
That sounds good.
So I can actually focus better on what I'm trying to say.
You did a hell of a job. Say hi to Stacy.
Hey, baby.
Well, no, you say hi for us.
Oh, I thought you were saying hi. Again, I just,
Fletcher Stevens, Davita Jackson, Olivia Branch, and Johnny Ornalis, Kelly Lewis, more people than I can count are giving you props right now. Thank you for joining us, Ted, on the show. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Jerry, so much. Thanks for giving me a chance to put it out there.
It's
Appreciate
our pleasure.
it.
You have a good one, Ted Norris.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Crystal Napier, we're going to go to you in a matter of moments. I'm just going to throw this out there. Restaurants, local restaurants, mom and pop restaurants, 1-unit restaurant owners, 2-unit restaurant owners, local restaurants are clinging to dear life. They're on the operating room table and their heartbeat is flatlining, and occasionally you'll see a blip because someone's got the paddles over their chest and are trying to bring them back to life. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning of COVID-19, maybe the top of the 8th. Finally, vaccinations are outnumbering cases. That's good. Yet local government, Commonwealth government, is thinking about asking restaurant owners to pony up more cash at a time when they don't have it. Timing is critical in everything in life. Timing is critical with love. Timing is critical with business. Timing is critical with childhood, being parents. This timing is not correct. And to ask restaurant owners to do this now is potentially damning. I'm going to reach out to Crystal Napier here on the show, Judah Wickhauer. Crystal's on the line. Hey, Crystal, how are you? I'm doing well. I love your look here. Tell us what you're wearing today.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm in my cozy leopard sweatshirt. It's actually on Renee's Boutique LLC. I love it. It's lightweight, so I don't get too hot because I am a hot nature person, but it's nice and warm enough for these chilly temperatures and absolutely comfortable.
I love it. I love it. She looks fabulous. Crystal Napier is the owner of Renee's Boutique. You can find her online at reneesboutiquellc.com. Please tell us about the fabulous clothes behind you as well.
Oh, sweet. So I just had a dream one day that we are going to get back into professional clothing.
Oh, I saw your Facebook post. I was going to bring this up. She was throwing shade on tracksuits. I thought it was freaking hilarious. And part of the shade I love your Facebook post, by the way. Part of the shade she was throwing on tracksuits, which she goes, some of y'all ain't even matching in your tracksuits. It was freaking hilarious. It made me laugh out loud because sometimes I fall victim to that, Crystal.
Yeah, I had some friends cracking up. They were like, really, Crystal? The UPS folks are giving you better vibes with their monochrome looks? I was like, yes, I am over sweatpants, tracksuits, all of that. Like, let's move on already. But yeah, I was just pulling out some, different professional looks that I, just love to play with and to see on ladies, just to look professional and corporate. And it actually goes well with this dynamic woman I'm about to speak about today. She is extremely professional and a true leader in our community. And I'm really excited to spotlight her, Dr. Kelli Palmer.
Dr. Kelli Palmer, look at the seasoned broadcaster, Crystal Napier, with the segue right there. Dr. Kelli Palmer, I met her at the community Collaborative Climate Awards. And I'm messing up that name, but she was one of the presenters, and so was I. And she has this amazing energy and aura about her. When Dr. Kelli Palmer is in the room, you know she's in the room. And then when she was speaking in front of everybody at the stage at the Paramount, everyone was intently listening. She has a presence.
Oh, absolutely. Her presence is simply dynamic. And I really enjoyed that she was able to speak at Quadruplicity last year. And her speech was so powerful. They actually posted it on their website. They did a replay of it because she just brought so much education, but also ground truth. And she left us with a mirror to self-evaluate of how we can be the change that we need to see in our communities. And she does that for a living. Clearly, she's operating in her passion. She is a Wahoo. She received her PhD from UVA, and it is in higher education and administration. And she is the head of the Global Inclusion and Diversity and Corporate Citizenship at CFA Institute. And she's been doing that. She has been with CFA for quite some time now. Looks like, I believe, 2015 is when she started. So she's traveling around the world, bringing her dynamic presence and talking about how, at a global level, she's speaking to different companies and translating how they can execute processes and procedures to create a more diverse and inclusive environment. And she also helps to build the policies and procedures around that. So she's just a woman of her word, and I totally admire her. I am completely honored that she's allowing me to speak about her. And as a client of mine, she helps me grow. And I truly look to Kelli as a mentor. I will constantly send her an email, bounce things off of her. And so I'm proud to have such an influential person in my life, not just on the business level, but the personal level as well. And she's an incredible mother on top of all of the work that she does in our community. And she's on several different boards. So she's just a complete rock star. And her and her husband it's been a complete pleasure to, just get to know them. And Liam, their son, is the same age as Micah. They're literally 1 month apart.
Wow. Play dates?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We've already told them, y'all are going to be best friends. It is what it is.
How does Micah do on a play date? What kind of kid is Micah on the play date? Is he the center of attention? Is he the sharer? Is he pulling the toys from the other kids? Because I'm starting to see it with my little boy. There's so many different personalities at the play date.
Oh, absolutely. It really just depends on who he's playing with. Typically, when Liam and Micah had a play date, they were pretty young. They were 1 year old, so they were just kind of independently playing. Now, Micah, if he has a play date with his first cousin Violet, it's game on, because they are he's holding every single toy that he has because he doesn't want to share with her. So it just depends on the day. If they're outside, they're good because they can just run along and play with each other. Until Violet, Violet is the boss lady. So when she tries to boss Micah around, that's it is.
Get ready, Micah. That's life. Get ready, Micah. You're going to have more of that coming down your road, dude. Okay, let me throw this to you here, and then we'll get back to Dr. Kelli Palmer. Parent to parent here. What was going through you and Sean's mind? Sean's her husband when it came to play dates in COVID. I mean, how tough was it? Did you have some tough, mental conversations with this? Because we certainly are.
Well, Micah hasn't went on too many play dates with COVID, besides, his cousin Violet.
Because she's potting with him, right? Is she potting with him? Are they in the same pod?
Pod.
The same pod?
Well, they're in Harrisonburg.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's like maybe once a month that we get a chance to get together. But Micah's play dates, the last play date we had, we met in a park and it was still warm outside. So that was nice to, be out in the open air. And it was with someone that we know wasn't around anybody else like we were. So just being cautious. But other than that, Micah typically just goes to preschool during the day, so he gets to interact with his classmates there. But he haven't did a whole lot of scheduling of play dates outside of his regular preschool.
I'm always curious about that. It's certainly a conversation my wife and I are having. Let me throw Dr. Kelli Palmer back to you. How about a personal anecdote, you and her, or something that you've seen that's kind of like an indicator of why she's been so successful? Because you know her on a personal level here, where a lot of folks that are watching this know her on a professional level through CFA. That's how I know her.
Okay. I would say, I've just watched Kelli be super intentional with everything that she goes about. And she's extremely transparent, which, I'm a lover of that. She's going to be honest. She's going to give you the facts. And I think that carries a lot of weight with folks because we have so much in society that we could sugarcoat and, not bring it up. But she doesn't have that fear. She's very, like I said, she's very educated in her fields and her expertise. So she's just a wealth of knowledge. And I think people appreciate the wisdom that she brings to the table, which has really, allowed her to flourish in her career. And on the personal side, as I watch her as a mother, it's the same thing. I remember when she first came to shop with me, she brought her adorable daughter Ellie, and which I love Ellie. She's a rock star in herself. If you ever want to have kids on your show, bring Ellie on.
Hey, I trust your judgment. If you think that's a good thing, I trust your judgment. We will do it.
She is awesome. But I just watched her and how she talked to Ellie. One of the things, Ellie was looking in the mirror, and I don't remember what she said, but she quickly addressed any self-doubt that Ellie had with herself. It was something so minor that she caught it as soon as Ellie said it to reaffirm her that, no, you are gorgeous, you are intelligent, and this is what you need to know. And I appreciated that as a mother, because I feel like we have to equip our kids with that type of self-confidence before they go out to the world, because the world, it's just built to try to break us down.
Tear you down.
Yeah, and we're seeing that so much with COVID, with the rates of depression and whatnot. And I don't want to go too far in the rabbit hole, but I just think it's important for us to build our children up within our own walls before we let them out into the world, because it's extremely important for them to know who they are and be firm in what they have been raised up with and believe in order to be strong citizens in the world.
Amen. Amen. Poignant right there from Crystal Napier. Give her a like for that comment right there. Renee's Boutique LLC. Give us some insight. What you got cooking?
We have quite a few things cooking right now. So with these cold temperatures, it's gonna, stay chilly for another 6 weeks. They're predicting. We do have a 30% off on our winter gear. So all wraps, pashminas, gloves, stock up on them. They're 30% off. And yesterday, I actually just launched our new honoring Black History
Nice.
masks.
Cool.
They come in different styles.
Ooh, I like the ear. I like the wrap around the ear.
Yes. And we have lanyards as well, so you can keep up with your mask and make sure, they stay sanitized. They hook around your neck.
How much are those?
These are $7.99.
That's a steal.
Yeah, $7.99.
Very nice.
Some other very nice African art inspired face masks up on the website now too. These were really popular yesterday, so so make sure you guys get them. I just placed a reorder because we sold out within a couple of hours of me launching those on social media yesterday. So you can still order them because the restock, they're on the way.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Renee's Boutique, LLC.com. Her name is Crystal Napier. You rock. Thank you so much, Crystal.
I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too, Crystal. Take care. A-plus people right there. Bob Shada, welcome to the broadcast. Dr. Kelli Palmer, you are a rock star. I remember you at the Community Collaborative Awards, and this was before COVID. And the presence you had was just extremely dynamic. Extremely dynamic. Couple more items out of the notebook, and then we'll get on out of here. Remember, Patty Zeller and Animal Connection, their show, What's Barking Local, is at 3 o'clock today. Anything in the animal community we cover today at 3 o'clock, Wednesdays at 3 o'clock on What's Barking Local, presented by Patty Zeller and Animal Connection. Tomorrow at 10:15 in the morning, our newest show on the I Love CVille network, it's called Today y Mañana. It airs Thursdays at 10:15 a.m. It's hosted by Xavier Yerpe and Alex Yerpe. And it's presented by Emergent Financial Services. Today y Mañana spotlights, champions, and absolutely pedestals the Latino and Hispanic community in Central Virginia. 10:15 a.m. tomorrow. It is a fantastic program. Sports. UVA plays tonight against NC State. The Wahoos, 14 in the AP poll, 15 in the coaches poll. The Hoos are a 6.5-point favorite against NC State tonight. 9 o'clock tip-off in Raleigh. The Wolfpack are not very good. They're 7-6 on the season, 3-5 in the ACC. UVA is 11-3, 7-1 overall. 9 o'clock tip-off, 6.5-point favorite UVA. Virginia Tech plays Pittsburgh tonight in another matchup to watch. Florida State. It's looking like the ACC regular season title is UVA, Virginia Tech, and Florida State. 3-horse race. Well, Florida State, number 20 in the Associated Press poll, number 20 in the country. Florida State has postponed its next 3 games due to a COVID outbreak. So Florida State basketball, 20 in the nation, AP poll, has suspended its next 3 games. Boston College, Pittsburgh, and Virginia Tech all suspended because of COVID. The next game it will play is the 13th of February against Wake Forest. This happened to Clemson. UVA played Clemson the first game back after Clemson went on a hiatus due to COVID-19, and UVA shellacked the Clemson Tigers. It's very difficult in the Atlantic Coast Conference to take 3 games off, and then the next game, the 4th game, be sharp. You have to get consistent game time to play sharp and consistent basketball. We'll watch to see if this impacts Florida State and their quest to win the regular season ACC championship, because I think it will. It certainly impacted Clemson. They look like a shadow of their former self when we went to Death Valley and beat up the Tigers. All right, that's all she wrote. Please mark your calendar for Friday, February 12th. Friday, February 12th. From 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., myself and Keith Smith will be here for 12 hours straight to raise money for affordable housing. If we can get 5,000 people to donate, if we can get 3,000 people to donate $50 each, we get the house at the corner of 10th Street Northwest. We get a piece of property, the Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust buys a piece of property at the corner of 10th Street Northwest with the 150K that turns into 5 units of affordable housing. If we get 6,000 people to do $50, 6,000 people to do $50, that's $300,000. The Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust can also buy a second piece of property at the corner of Monticello and Carlton. Friday, February 12th, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'm counting on you. 6,000 people can do $50. Please. I'm counting on you. That's the show. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you for joining us on a Wednesday. You guys have a good afternoon. Take care. J-Dubs, why don't you cut it there? See if it's under 60.